Yo, what's up, everybody? This is AP, and you are tuned in to AP Tactical TV. And as always, if you like, share, comment, and subscribe, that would be very helpful, and I'll be thankful for everybody's support today. Today, I got a special guest. I'm gonna go ahead and let you introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do.
Yeah, of course, man. Appreciate you. Shout out to you and the work that you're doing.
Thank
David
you.
Echevarria, CEO and founding partner of Village Esports and Entertainment, also an entrepreneur, community leader, and overall just trying to make sure we're creating impact around the country. So happy to be here, excited to be here, and yeah, shout out to you, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, I just want to start off with first of all, letting everybody get to know who you are and like your journey. So, where are you from originally?
Yeah. So I was born in Florida,
Okay.
right around Tampa, Florida, and lived there for a number of years before moving up. My family, we all moved up to Kentucky, actually in Northern Kentucky. So Florence is where I lived and went to high school, middle school, and then came here to U of L in 2018. So I've been here for the last, I guess, almost 7 years now. But Louisville's really where I call home.
Okay.
I moved around a lot when I was younger and never really found a place that I felt community. But being in Louisville and being able to work with people and meet people in the city, it's been impactful. I went to U of L, met amazing people there, and found success at the university, and so I've been working for myself as an entrepreneur since graduation,
Hell
and
yeah!
even before. So
Congratulations
yeah,
on that.
appreciate you, man. Listen, the entrepreneur journey is one of trial and error, but it's also of success, and makes you feel good when you find that success. So
Hell yeah! So, what did you study at the University of Louisville?
yeah, so U of L, I actually created my own major. It's called political organization.
Okay.
So essentially, I started actually as a business major, economics and marketing, and found that the business school was a little too restrictive for me. So I wanted to kind of explore what other options there were. And so I created my own major, political organization, which essentially was a mix of political science, sociocultural anthropology, and then sociology. And so kind of leveling up from what political science is, which is very policy based and structure based, to really understanding the history of communities and people, what motivates them, what doesn't motivate them, and what ways different policy and initiatives can impact them, and also how to look at the data and storytell from that piece. So that was my official name for the major and what I studied.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
you've been thinking outside the box from the beginning.
It's one of those things. I don't like things restricting my imagination, and I feel like the more that we can innovate and reimagine what the things that we're told are the status quo are, the more that we can create impact and really move forward as a community and as a society. So
Okay, I like that.
yeah.
I like that. And then, so can you give our viewers today a more of an inside dive onto what your company is and how the idea came about?
Yeah, of course, man. So Village Esports and Entertainment, we go by Village E&E, and so really trying to really capture what the everyday gamer wants and needs. It started a group of six of us from our gaming group, as many of us have our gaming groups and
Yeah.
that we hang out and talk with all the time. We're really trying to think about what could we work on as a group, as a collective, to really move forward. Not only our gaming journey, but also how can we potentially make some money from it? How can we just have something to be behind? How do we have a brand that we can really be proud of? And so the journey was really figuring out what does that look like. It was actually about a little bit over a year ago that we really had to start to have that serious conversation. And so the way that we're approaching it, for those that don't know esports is essentially the definition of esports is literally just competitive gaming,
Okay.
competitive organized gaming. Now, a lot of folks see esports at the very high levels of the professional levels, especially in Asia and Europe. Esports become very, very popular, but it's for the best of the best.
Right.
And the reality is, here in the U.S., we aren't quite at that level. of competition, but then also just of fandom, and having that community. So the way that we're approaching it is essentially, what does esports look like for the everyday gamer?
Okay.
What does it look like for someone who's casual but still wants to be competitive and have the opportunity to compete? We all talk shit a lot,
Yeah.
as I know many gaming groups do. So it's like, how can we take that energy and the energy and the experience that we had growing up, being on the couch playing co-op games, split screen, multiplayer? How do we bring those worlds together, and really provide opportunity in this new age of technology and gaming, and really expand on the market, because it's an untapped market, in my opinion, of how do we really organize the everyday gamer.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I like how you explained that there. You
Yeah.
simplified it for people that are not too familiar with it as well.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So, in this industry, what are some things that have helped you out as a gamer and as an entrepreneur in this industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's part of its research.
Okay.
It's one of those things. I have experience in other industries and in communities, but this is a new industry. Even though I've been playing video games all my life and have felt like I knew a lot, there's always more to know.
Right.
You want to make sure you look at, if you're taking this seriously as a business opportunity, you got to look at what's been successful and what hasn't been successful.
Mm,
And so really, and also look for opportunity within that, right?
right.
So that was really the first step, was doing as much research as possible of like, okay, one, why does this make sense to invest my own time and energy into? I am the CEO, but there are 5 other partners. So how does it make sense for all 6 of us to spend our time and energy on it as a
Mm,
collective? How do we direct our energy and prioritize, you know, what makes the most sense to start with versus where do we want to end up? So having a clear vision of the future, and again, looking at what's been successful. So who are we trying to emulate, or who do we want to reach out to for mentorship? And those are all essential pieces of business and good business.
right.
And in this kind of industry, it's a unique one, that there's opportunities for growth and engagement in different ways. And we're seeing the streaming world continue to grow, and you have
Booming.
opportunities to be bringing in thousands for your family,
Yeah.
from a very, very young age. So similarly with the esports world and the gaming world as a whole, how do we find our own niche in that space, and really try to build it out organically,
Hmm.
while also investing in, whether it's marketing or events, or different kinds of infrastructure that can be sustainable and impactful for years to come.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
And then another question that I had, like you had pointed out that this has become a market where young children are able to now support their families off of playing video games. Um, would you have any recommendations for financial literacy,
Mm.
for like these younger children that are now getting sponsorships, getting money to pay bills, and so they just don't blow it all on like
Yeah. Listen,
video games?
Listen, financial literacy is one of those things we definitely need more of it. Absolutely, especially, I mean, even whether it's esports or sports in general. I mean,
Right.
you look at the athletes now getting NIL deals even in high school,
Yeah.
and having opportunity to make money, which is amazing. I've always been a proponent for folks being able to make more money,
Yeah.
especially in light of the new deals in NIL. Um, my biggest piece of advice, and this is more from the entrepreneur side of things, which I had to figure out when I first started my first company, really understanding business structure,
Mm,
because ultimately you shouldn't be like, let's say you're streaming stuff, start an LLC right away,
right.
if you're actually bringing money in that is reasonable, um, and understand what business structure looks like, and how are these different verticals, meaning like what are these different initiatives and projects that you're doing, how do they fit into these different pieces, what makes sense to be under a business brand versus your personal brand,
Mm,
how are you, what's the infrastructure look like between your social media and the money that's coming in potentially from that versus sponsorships, versus events and paid promotion, like really seeing the different ways that you're bringing in money and the streams of income, and talking to someone that does have experience in that space of like, hey, how are we most strategic with where this money's going and where it's being spent,
right.
because that's another big piece. I'm a consultant, so there aren't as many expenses as maybe a traditional brick and mortar retail store.
Right.
So taxes wise, like how am I spending money to make sure that my taxes isn't killing me at the end of the year?
Mm.
And that's another big thing. Like when your brand is yourself and you aren't necessarily spending a ton of money, um, you gotta also make sure how are you making protecting yourself in the tax space
Yeah,
at the end of the
'cause
day. So I always think paying for someone to advise you in financial spaces, especially when you're not as knowledgeable, is always a good investment.
okay.
Obviously, do your research on who you should be talking to and how much you are investing into it. But it never hurts if you're bringing in a couple $1,000s, spending a couple $100s to really be directed in the right way. So
Definitely bang for the buck and the
100%.
longevity.
Yep.
On your personal space, like your personal side of being a gamer yourself, what are some of your favorite games?
Man, well, I'll start with the legacy games, man. Like, I've always been a fan of Halo. Halo,
Okay.
that was one of my first games. I talk about the co-op split screen experience on the couch with your
Yeah.
neighbors. Like, that was the game. I'd go over to my neighbor's crib, especially in the summers. We'd be in the basement playing Halo 3, Halo 2.
Hours.
Yeah, man. I think the first rated M, because for the longest I was having to go over to my neighbor's crib to play the games.
Yeah.
But the first rated M game that my parents like let me get was Halo Reach when it
Mm.
first came out, and so that was my favorite. I like the fact I wasn't a huge fan of Call of Duty. I am now, but back then I wasn't just because it wasn't fun. Like it wasn't as fun. Like it wasn't. I didn't feel like the worlds were limiting. Like right
Right.
and like Halo, it's like a whole different world and you're seeing aliens and everything. That was my favorite.
Being able to jump into vehicles and
Man, the vehicle that's the biggest thing too. Like,
yep.
yeah, Call of Duty for a while didn't even have vehicles. Like, and it's not really
Like
for real.
they had them, but you couldn't
Right, it
access
wasn't
them.
the same kind.
They're
Yeah, like
decoration.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So that was my favorite. FIFA, they call it EAFC, I think now.
Yeah.
Like that was probably the game I was. That and Halo were the two best games, like games I was best at playing. And I'm a huge soccer fan, and so I always enjoyed being able to play career mode, but then also when Ultimate Team started coming out and everything, like that was I really enjoyed it. But it also pissed me off a lot, and so I've
Yeah.
kind of strayed a little bit more towards the FPS and strategy games and RPGs, less than sports games.
Yeah.
But those two are definitely my favorite. And also Pokemon games, man. Like
Okay.
I was a big Pokemon guy on my DS
I fuck with
back in the
Pokemon
day,
still to this
man.
day. I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
the trading card game they just
Okay.
came out
Yes,
with.
yeah, I just seen that.
I've been
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
with
yeah.
that.
Okay, yeah, but
But
yeah, those are my top three probably. And then I'll also shout out to Skyrim. Skyrim's also like one of my favorite
okay.
like RPG games. So,
See, my brother Tay would be on Skyrim for hours, man.
I'm already knowing, man. I remember, I think it was middle school when it came out. Like, yeah, folks were on that like heavy. But yeah, now that it's a good chill game now. Now that I'm older, it's also a little bit easier than I remember being when I was in middle school.
Yeah, I
But
think
yeah,
the first original ones were more challenging,
yeah,
especially like not having YouTube to walk you
Mhm.
through or whatnot.
Right,
It was
right.
like a Game Informer. You used to have to flip through
Yeah,
and get some help
man,
with.
Game Informer. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love Game Informer, man. That was also one of my favorites. Rip Game Informer, man.
Yep.
R.I.P.
Man. See, I remember like Tay and I, we got a large age difference.
hmm
So I would buy a game, I would start playing it, and he'll be watching it, like
Yeah.
coming in and out, watching me play the game. I would go to work. I would come back and try to get back on my game.
He had played that shit.
Man, he had already played on my file. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Yeah,
I
shout
was
out
like,
to Tay, man.
yeah. So Tay would be advancing on the games and stuff,
Yeah.
and I come back like, bro, I might as well not even play it.
Man, he's
So,
still on that same vibe. He, shout out to Tay Perkins. He's a partner with Village. Yeah, no, we play Baldur's Gate, right? Yeah,
yeah,
he was hounding on me like, hey man, get this game, get this game, get this game. I was like, okay, like let me go ahead and get it. I played the old one on the original Xbox.
yeah.
Like I love that game. That was one of my favorite games, but it wasn't turn based. And so we played. So I played the first day. He of course had already been on the game for hours, and then I think I played one time with them. Then the next day I tried to play again, and this man already like skipped, like gone through everything, beating the game. I'm like, man, like how is this even possible? Like it's literally been 14 hours, and it takes 14 hours a day, to beat the rest of the game. So he still does that shit. Like he'll
Oh
still
man.
go along and go, skip ahead and expect you to catch up. I'm like, man, it's not fun anymore.
Yo,
So yeah.
shit, I used to come by from work and be like, hey, Tay, have you ate today? Nah. All right, I go back to work the next day. Come back again. have you ate? He's like, nah, I forgot to eat. Like,
Man,
bro, you
he
forgot to
grinding
eat.
out, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he a whole different level of gamer,
I ate in the game. Like,
man.
nah, you need some nutrients. You gotta
Right,
eat.
right. Not no just the crumbs of your McDonald's from 2 days ago, man.
Yup.
Yeah,
Man, that's why he's so small.
literally. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm.
So, with getting into the esports community, being a new name in the esports community, has that hindered you guys, or have people been more accepting in that community?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a new industry, relatively, right? Like you compare it to other industries that have been around for a while. Like esports is very, very new, especially in this country. Um, I think folks are curious,
Mhm.
and that gives us some leeway in how we um, introduce ourselves, and we're given some grace in the fact that like, hey, like we're figuring it out. It's been about a year now. We're at our year anniversary of being in business and being live, and our soft launch was in January, so we're about there. And um, I think overall, uh, it's been very accepting. I think our approach to it is different. It'd be different if we were trying to be, have the premier team for League of Legends in the country.
Mm,
Like, people might look at us a little silly at that point and be like, okay, like be for real, But the fact that we're really trying to engage the everyday gamer, casual gamers around the country, connecting siloed gaming communities to each other, um, and really also just like provide space for people, especially in Kentucky, right? Like we're
right.
we're in a state where there
It's,
isn't a whole lot of priority for us to get access to these spaces a
yeah,
lot of
it's a little
times.
slow, like getting involved with new
Yeah,
things.
yeah. So we're really trying to bring that into the city a little bit more. We started out doing a couple of smaller scale events in the spring where we did a private party for Super Bowl. So we did a Madden tournament before the game.
Okay.
People like that a lot. We did a 2K tournament on campus during March Madness.
Shit.
So we engage with the Alpha Pi chapter and the Sigmas out on at U of L and organized that with them. We also tabled at some events and did like some skill challenges with Pac-Man and FIFA, and so like folks we are trying to introduce the idea to folks, right, and
Right.
build that base of support. And then also introducing it via social media, and showing folks like, hey, like people care about this industry, people like this kind of content, and they're looking for places to engage with it. So yeah, so I mean, obviously there is some resistance, and it's a little bit harder. Some people might, the larger sharks in the sea might, look at you a little crazy for thinking that it's possible. But the reality is, a lot of these entities started from where we're at now,
Right.
and so they give us a chance. Also figuring out like how can we be supportive of what's already in the industry. How can we, learn, because that's a big part of it too, of like understanding like, hey, we might not know all this stuff, but we're willing to learn. We want to learn. Um, and that's sometimes a mistake that folks aren't sometimes aren't humble enough to also ask to have the opportunity to learn.
Right.
So we're trying to take the humble approach, but also building our own spaces, and yeah. So overall, it's been good experience so far in the industry. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like you guys are humble and hungry at the same time.
Humble and hungry, man. That's
Uh,
that's the way for success. Yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah. So I did have a couple more questions, but I'm gonna have to look at my phone to get all the rest of the
I got you.
questions.
No, you
You
good.
know,
You
it's a
good.
lot of questions to ask you because I want to know so much, and
Listen,
I'm pretty
man.
sure other people want to know as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Listen, I've definitely seen a lot of folks be very curious about like, okay, what are the opportunities in the industry, and also like, why the hell would you want to enter into it?
Yeah,
Because it's a little intimidating sometimes, but I don't know, it's exciting to me.
but I see it as like being a pioneer in the untapped market,
Hmm.
where like you were saying, there are like big sharks in the industry or like above the industry.
Hmm.
Like someone like Mark Cuban, he's got so much going on to where a group like yours, once you guys get it to a level, then having someone on that level where they want to fund and invest and things
Hmm.
like that and give you guys full control of what you guys already have going on will be easier
Hmm.
than someone invested on you guys earlier and they want to take control and
Yeah.
micromanage. That that shit gets annoying.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
no, definitely. I mean,
see,
it's all about building the base and the community. Again, the data too, because once you have those things, then it's much more feasible for folks to, much more appetizing for folks to take risk and also mitigated risk as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
See, and that like, what are some of the risks that you guys have come across so far? What
Yeah,
are
obviously the biggest risk is that it won't catch on, especially I think in being based out of Louisville. I think there's a certain level of risk of like, okay, there won't be people that invest in or see the vision for it.
mm,
There's been conversations of like, okay, does it make more sense to focus on, because a lot of our team is around the country, so we have folks in New York, DC, Texas, Georgia, but we're all from or have roots here in Louisville, so we want to start here.
right?
But it's really about finding the partners that are in the city to help support the work. So that's one risk, I would say. Another's just like, okay, capital and cash flow. I mean, that's always a risk in any business, right?
True.
And so as we look to scale and put on bigger events and hopefully bring people to the city, um, there will definitely be risk in, how do we manage that flow of resources? How do we make sure that we are getting the most bang for a buck and providing cushion to ourselves to be like, okay, bringing in sponsors, bringing in partners that can help with venue costs and technology costs, because the reality is it is a high level technology industry,
Right.
which is expensive.
Hell yeah.
You look at like what it takes to put together even a 20-person tournament. The amount of PCs and or consoles, the
Yeah.
internet, the monitors, the venue itself, and like how it's structured and making sure it visually is appealing. Like all those things are expensive.
Right.
So as we look to scale more into the event side of things, there is risk in that. And then also the other risk is that because there are larger entities that have more cash and have more availability, and look at companies like Amazon or like big groups like that, like they can come into these industries, even though there are already big entities in it, but they can come in and you know take you
Monopolize
out.
the
Yeah, they
market.
monopolize the industry. They can use their billions of dollars and do what you want to do right away.
Yeah.
So it's really about, again, building the community, because that's what builds that cushion for you. It's like, okay, we have a loyal fan base or a loyal community behind us that will stick with us, invest in us, and continue to support us for years to come.
And that is a good thing about starting off in the Louisville, Kentucky region.
Mm-hmm.
It's where it gives you guys time to develop it,
Mm-hmm.
and by time like you guys are ready, like you're right under their nose, like it's been here the whole
Yeah.
time, and boom, it just blows up.
Yeah. No, it does. It gives you time, and I remember I saw actually it actually was very funny. I watched a docu series that was around gaming,
Mm.
and it was talking about the rise of Sony. I believe it was Sony or it was Nintendo. I forget which one it was, but they were trying to find a test market for their new product. And the state that identified to launch the product in first was Kentucky.
Oh shit.
And they wanted to do that. Like the developers wanted to do that because they're like, okay, we need time to figure it out. Like it gives us a little more time. Now CEO ended up saying no, we're actually gonna go to New York City, and they
Damn.
am dropping right away in New York, and it provides some, like, there were pros and cons to that. But yeah, it gives you time to really like test the market and
Right.
grow organically, which is how we want the company. We want the culture to be that way too.
Right.
So then it can really grow from there.
Hell yeah. So one of the questions that I have is like, how do you think the gaming industry is evolving, and where do you see your company doing its part to help the evolution of the gaming industry?
Yeah. So one, I think we've seen a big shift in approaches to games. It's been very extreme. You see, really start with Fortnite, the free to play
Yeah.
style, which is really kind of like live games that are consistently evolving.
Hmm.
Because the free to play ones that are trying too hard to hold on to their storyline and stuff, like they don't survive. But you see like Fortnite, who isn't afraid to partner with
Everybody.
everybody. You literally can go on there and see who knows who, from whether it be from the music world, the anime world, the sports world. Like you're gonna see them in the game.
Yeah.
So we see that structure, but then we also see games getting more expensive. Developers having a hard time catching up with the consumer demand. So we're seeing a shift in how games are structured, and I think that's going to play a big part. One, and this will also answer a little bit of the second part of the question, is which games are actually being considered esports games,
Mm.
and how are they being considered that? We see the League of Legends, the Valorants, the Rocket Leagues, like most of them are actually free to play.
Yeah.
And so there's a level of accessibility that is provided with that. And again, they're live games that can consistently keep up to date. But also it's because, like it's like who's determining which games are esports games, and so that's part of also what we're trying to be a part in, is cultivating the community and providing the storytelling to have more for the everyday consumer, everyday gamer, to have more of a say in what's being produced by developers, because sometimes it seems like they're not really listening to the consumers.
Yeah, they just throw something out there
Yeah,
that
like they'll
they
put
think
something
we
out there and it's
like.
like, this is what we asked for, or it'll be some an entity, like a Halo franchise that's like, we're telling you what we want, you're not necessarily giving it to us. And so how do we continue to build power as a gaming community to help shift the industry in that way? Similarly with esports specifically, how are we making games that are more palatable for different markets?
Okay.
And that, like I mentioned, expanding on the esports industry and making it more accessible to the everyday gamer. The everyday gamer doesn't necessarily play League of Legends. Not to say League of Legends shouldn't be a focus for esports, because it absolutely should be, because of the level of play that it provides. But there's also opportunity for us to create more infrastructure around games like 2K or FIFA or EAFC, or or even ones that are less traditional, like some different Mario games, and there are Super Smash Brothers is considered an esports game as well. But how do we build those pieces out a little bit more, so that then members of our communities that have never touched a PC before can still engage in esports? So we really want to make that piece more accessible, because you mentioned how much money is available in these spaces.
Right.
Like there's no reason why a kid from Louisville shouldn't be any less likely to engage in esports from the age of 10 as a kid from New York City. And so because there's the monetary and the career impact they could have on their lives. So that's one of our focuses, is really making that more accessible, and helping to build out the infrastructure for it to make it feasible for these larger companies and these larger partners to invest in a place like Louisville and the esports industry here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And one thing that I've noticed as like games have grown, like back when I was in middle school, I'm a little older, so it was like the early, the early 2000s. We had a little project in class. We're like, come up with an invention,
Yeah.
and that you'll sell. And my invention was like a flash drive that'll make PlayStation and Xbox compatible to play online and shit.
Man, that would be.
So
Yeah.
and then now as like being an adult, like it's crossplay. A lot
Yeah,
of
literally,
everything is cross platform, crossplay. Would you say that's helped out the esports community a lot more? Because it was like, it was part of the shit talking. Like
Yeah.
if you got PlayStation, you got Xbox, you talk shit about those people.
No, absolutely, man. No, see, I'm an Xbox guy.
Same.
So I've been very thankful for the more higher level cross play compatibility and access. No, definitely. I mean, I think it's helped a lot of different aspects of the industry, from the esports side, of course, but also from the entrepreneurship side. Like it makes things cheaper.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to buy new consoles and new games. As much. We're able to still, and also for content creators and things like that, like it makes it easier to collaborate and to partner, and to really build out communities too. Because again, it's like those two communities were very siloed and very much competing against each other.
Yeah.
And whether it be through the exclusives or through just talking shit. So I think it's created more of a holistic community. I think there's still a lot of progress to be made there for sure.
Yeah.
But I think it has opened that door for sure.
Okay. So shout out to whoever invented crossplay.
Yeah, man.
That stole my ideas
Right.
as a youngin.
Yeah, listen.
So why would you say digital equity is important to today's world?
I mean, listen, look at us right now. We're in a studio that's using technology in every aspect of it. Digital equity has been talked about a lot, invested in some. And I was talking with someone the other day, and I was talking about how, we also got to remind ourselves the kids in the classrooms today are in a very different classrooms and setups than we
Yes.
were 10, 15, 20 years ago. And even though we were, the first generations to have computer labs
Yeah.
that were easily accessible, and we had computer class and we were typing and all those different things. Kids now, they have a computer they carry around with them all day, or they each of their classrooms has Chromebooks, and
Yep.
so they're getting the access more um, at school. But when it comes to professional development, like because the reality is it expands past just the school day, right?
Right. It's everything.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I spend all day on the computer, and it's not just being on the computer for Word documents. It's also using Photoshop and website development programs, and those are all ways I'm able to make money and create a career for myself, and also learn more with AI.
Oh
I mean,
man, that's going crazy.
that's a whole different lane of digital equity that needs to be talked about now. And whether it's from the security side,
Mhm.
because there's also a whole lot of security concerns around it, from the legislative side because of the oversight that needs to happen around AI and AI companies, or from the actual application of it in education, because the reality is technology moves very, very quickly,
Yes.
and so does the education needs to match that speed, right?
Right.
And if folks have access to technology from 5 years ago, it's not gonna hit the same as if you have the new PC available to you.
Right.
And so there's a lot of inequity there still. And the reality is that it's because of a lot of red tape, especially from the government side. But it takes investing in it, like for real investing in it, to really open up these other spaces, which is professional development and also just like capital and the monetary benefit that can actually impact our day to day lives. But we know from the esports space that digital equity is very, very important. One of the things we also talked about, I think at the end of last year, the Affordable Connectivity Program, so ACP, was a program that the government had.
I wasn't familiar.
Yeah. So it essentially gave a discount rate to folks for their internet.
Oh.
And so a lot of college students qualify for it. Folks under the poverty line definitely qualify for it. But it's like I think it was like 35,000 a year. If you made less than that, you qualify for it. Me as a student, I qualified for it, so I applied for it, and it gave me $35 off my internet bill every month.
Damn.
But like, there's
That
no
adds
reason.
up.
Like, there's no reason though why we as an esports community shouldn't be advocating for something like that, because that closes that accessibility gap,
Right.
and provides more access, more, and overall, I mean, it helps the household obviously,
Right.
but it very much directly impacts the gamer and the
Creative
community.
market too.
Yeah, and it creates more of a market. Has more consumers. $30 they aren't spending on internet, they could spend somewhere else.
Yep.
And so that's an aspect of that digital equity and accessibility that not only is it good people business as far as like taking care of our community members, but it's also good business.
Right.
And we know that as there's more of a demand for a higher level workforce, that there's going to be the talent. we need to create larger groups of talent that have experience in these things, because it's not sustainable if all of the needs for technology and digital technology and application go up, but we're not building the workforce under it that have the talent. Then we're gonna come up with issues from a industry perspective.
Yeah, there's gonna be a large gap in between.
Yep.
who's
Things are gonna
able
get more
to work
expensive.
with it.
Labor's gonna
Yeah.
get more expensive. All those things are gonna get more expensive. And we want to make sure that our communities are also taken care of.
Right.
It's okay to make money, but make sure that we're all making money.
Right.
It shouldn't only be a select group of the community. So,
Needs to trickle down, and we all be able to grow with it.
yeah.
So would you say your company is minority owned?
Listen, man, we are Black, Brown, LGBTQ plus, and veteran owned.
Okay.
So we hit a lot of the boxes when we fill it out. Yeah. So
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
And would you say being a minority owned business, has that helped you guys or like hindered you guys in the mix, or like, I know I kind of went on this before, but like, does it are people accepting
Yeah.
with you guys coming in, especially at such a young age, where a lot of those higher ups and those little what is the word? The powers that be
Mm-hmm.
are older or up in age.
Yeah.
Have they been helpful?
Yeah, I mean, short answer, yes. To a couple of those different questions. Listen, when I first took a look at, I essentially did an audit of the spaces I was in when I was first looking into gaming. But more than anything, I was looking to elevate my personal business opportunities and personal brand. And I'm fortunate to be in a lot of spaces where there's a lot of Black and brown entrepreneurs. On a national scale, I travel a lot. I'm able to network a lot, and I essentially did an audit of who and what spaces am I in, who's there and who isn't there, what industries aren't there. And the reality is, amongst a lot of the Black and brown leaders that I'm around, gaming is not one of those industries that's represented, and the esports industry isn't represented either. I also look around when I'm in those rooms, and very few people under 35, under 30 maybe. But yeah, like I'm in my mid 20s, and it's like, okay, there's a ceiling for me right now in certain spaces talking about certain things because they don't either don't give me I don't have the credibility, or they don't think I know enough. There is a certain level of ceiling there before I can really take that next step in my career. But the reality is, if there's an industry that they don't know much about, and if there's an industry that age actually plays to our benefit, what does that look like? And again, it's the gaming industry. It's something that, sure, I might not have 20 years of work experience, but I do have 20 years of gaming. and I can talk about it. I can relate to the community. So that's what led me a little bit more to having a real serious conversation with our partners and taking that next step into really making this a business. As far as a community and being minority owned and myself being Latino, our partners being Black, veterans, LGBTQ plus, like overall it is very exciting community. I would say it of course depends on the spaces you're in. Last week, myself and Tay were actually in Afrotech in Houston. I know there were a lot of jokes around Afrotech and like if it actually is a real conference. And yes, it is a real conference. Business does happen there. Networking happens there. Of course, people have fun too. But it was great energy. I was at Black Tech Week actually in Cincinnati in July, and similarly, great energy. There was a gaming lounge, and the gaming industry is being seen a bit more in the technology spaces, and they're starting to invest in it, and they're looking for people to lead from our communities because there aren't a whole lot of us. There's very few and far between. Shout out Ryan Johnson from Community Media, based in Atlanta, Community Foundation as well. They're doing great work when it comes to educating our community members on the opportunities within gaming in the gaming industry. And he and I actually connected in Washington. They were having an event called The Kickback, and I was there with Jalen, one of our partners. And so it's really like we've been doing the work to really get on the ground and see what has been working, the work that's being done, and how can we support it. And when you come in with that kind of energy, people receive it well. And again, it's about we can all coexist in these spaces and can build each other up while still finding success of our own. And I think the Black and brown community in the technology space sees that because we've each had our own struggles individually in other spaces. Yeah. So when we come together and really connect, it's important for us to prioritize each other and the work that we're doing and how can we be supportive rather than thinking in scarcity mindset, which too often our community members do that. Very true. Of like, hey, like there's only so many of us. There's only so much money. It's like, no, there is plenty of money out there.
Plenty.
And there's only more coming. Yep. And we're going to do better together rather than competing against each other.
With the end of the year coming and the holiday season right around the corner, what are some of the events that you plan on going to for the holiday?
Yeah, so listen, we got a lot planned. 2024, got ended out strong. Make sure we set up 2025 for success. So definitely tap in. We're going to be doing a holiday season special December 20th to 24th. Starting out, we're going to do December 20th. We're actually going to do an in-person gathering, making sure that folks want to have a good time with us. They can. We haven't decided. We'll be announcing the location soon. It'll likely be an activity of some sort. So it's either going to be, a bowling, a main event, a paintball, something like that to have fun with us. Start out the holiday season strong. Then on the 21st, we're actually going to be doing a stream. So we're going to start a stream series monthly, ideally. We're going to start out with Village versus Everybody. which is
Ooh.
going to be a start of streams that we host custom game lobbies, and we're inviting everyone to come join us to play in those and compete to see if you can beat Village and our team members. So make sure you check it out. Village Esports is the tagline for our Instagram. YouTube, we will actually be streaming on YouTube and on Twitch at Village Villeage. So we'll be streaming on there. On the day after that, the 22nd, we'll be actually announcing a giveaway. So we have a giveaway happening right now. It is live. If you go to our website, www.villageesports.com, we are giving away a free game of any kind, man. I know
I'm
you
tapping back
actually
in.
won.
Yeah.
Listen, man, we won our last giveaway. So everyone's eligible. So you can feel free to enter again.
All right.
But yeah, so it's already launched, but we'll be announcing the winner on the 22nd. So that's our first giveaway happening. The next day, on that Monday, we're going to be dropping a video on our YouTube channel, which is going to essentially be a drunk game night. So you're going to get to see a little bit more of our personalities and see our friendship, playing a bunch of different games online. But it'll be pre-produced, but we'll be dropping on the 23rd, that Monday. 24th, the culminating event. We really want to make sure that giving back was a part of what we're doing. With a lot of the founders being JCPS alumni, we want to give back to JCPS students specifically.
Okay.
So we'll actually be dropping a video that is essentially a shopping spree that we gifted a student. So they'll be going to GameStop and shopping their heart out. So we'll be dropping that video. The kid's really excited. We're gonna be filming here soon with him, and so definitely tune in at Village Esports on Instagram, at Village on the YouTube, Village Gaming on Twitch. But yeah, man, it's exciting. So that's how we're finishing our year out. We're also gonna be making sure we're going to events too. So in the spring, we'll be at DreamCon again. We went to DreamCon this last summer. DreamCon Memorial Day weekend in Houston. We'll be attending that and really building out until then to try and figure out, how are we setting ourselves up for success. We've talked about networking events that incorporate gaming, kind of like a speed dating concept, but for businesses and networking for individuals here in Louisville. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, let us know, because we're building it out, but we need partners. We need to know that folks are going to show up. So if you would be interested in something like that, let us know. We're also looking at an event concept for competitions, trying to get people the opportunity to compete before some of these larger events. And so things like DreamCon, they have their esports tournaments happening. They recently announced all the games that they're going to be having tournaments for. So how do we offer an opportunity about a month or two beforehand for folks to kind of test out their skills and still, have the opportunity to win some prizes before the big events. So those are all things we have cooking, man, and we're excited, and we really think that it could be successful. So
that's smart as hell.
Yeah.
All right, and then so for a small segment, we're gonna bring in some of the firearms.
Of course, man. Of course.
Well, I've heard that you're a firearm owner as well. So
I am.
What do you currently carry?
So I carry a Glock 27, man.
Okay.
So compact, but packs a punch too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But I got my CCDW, and I've been gun owner since 2021, I believe. Yeah, 2021. Yeah.
Okay. So with the firearms I have here today, it gives a little bit of flavor to where different outfits, different seasons, it calls for different size firearms.
Yeah.
Like with having a compact gun that you usually carry, that's kind of universal.
Right. Yeah.
But for new gun owners, or even our seasoned gun owners, they kind of want something for different reasons and different outfits or whatnot.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to go over the different sizes with firearms. Technology, it adapts damn near every day.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
All right, so for our people rocking firearms in places that are restricted, this one is my go-to. It actually fits very concealable, very close to the body, and that is the M&P Bodyguard 2.0. For some people that's still not familiar with it, it was a hidden secret. It's the size of a hand while fitting in your hand with a nice tight grip. I don't want to point the firearm here at my guest, but
appreciate that.
Safety.
Safety first, man.
So here's it.
Yeah, like I said, fits my finger.
Yep. So you can put that in any type of clothing, very concealable. If it's the summertime, especially in the wintertime, you throw a jacket on,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
nobody gonna see that thing. So this would be a nice little pocket piece. Definitely, if you carry it in your pocket, I would recommend it being in the holster. You don't want any negligent discharge, and you don't want to hurt yourself with your own firearm. So take that advice.
Mm-hmm. How much does that usually run for?
These ones usually run like $350
Oh.
to $400. So there is one with the safety and one without a safety. Um, all but one of the firearms here today do not have a safety. I'm a firm believer that no safe is safer than safe, because if someone's already got the drop on you and looking to do harm or cause harm, then they already have that intent. They're already ready to engage, and that's just one less step that you have to take care of. If you're being considered a potential victim, then they don't expect you to have a firearm.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have a safety on there, get it out as fast as possible, pull the trigger, and get yourself or your family out of the situation as fast as possible.
Okay.
Or you could just be on some street shit and walk them down, depending on what you own. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they come across that wrong person, and you know, they in their head they playing free body. I get a free body. So if you're looking to do some harm, you always gotta understand, like, you may have a plan, but that can go left real quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that I have today, getting into the more full size, would be the Canic TTI Combat. This is actually one of the brands that got me away from Glock, because I thought I was a damn gunsmith and would change out a lot of things on my guns. But Canic, they're coming optics ready. You can put a red dot on there. The trigger is phenomenal on these Canics, very durable and lightweight. This is the TTI Combat. I do competitive shooting, so the TTI Combat was one of my options for competitive shooting, because I was using the Canics prior until I upgraded. Getting into that community is kind of like getting into the tech world.
Yeah.
Where you go from console to PC, like, and once you get from console, or your PC friends are like, you need to get a PC, and you getting a nice little PC, and you're like, oh damn,
it's a whole different world, man. Whole different, opened it up for you. Yeah, and I feel that.
So this was one of those before my world got upgraded. But this is like the full size here. Be more of like a wintertime gun, but with full size you get more accuracy, tighter groups, most likely faster shots off, depending on how you're practicing with it. But it's very versatile. You can use it for home defense and everyday carry.
Yeah, you got it nice and accessoried up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a good pullback too.
Very smooth gun. And it's like I haven't had any issues with it. And then that's like even doing like competitions, it's like where you're being timed, scored, having issues where you're getting jams and whatnot is something you do not want to have.
Yeah.
Especially when you're competing against some of the best of the best.
Mm-hmm. How much that use a whole standard?
Standard that holds 18 standard with an extended base plate. I'm running 21 rounds. And then this is my upgraded piece that I'm currently running during competitions. This is going to be considered a full size. A little bit under 5 inches here. This is the CZ Shadow 2. This is the Gold Digger with the upgraded trigger. That's why this does have a safety. This trigger is very light, and it's ready to go off. So there's slight taps here, and you're ready to send that bitch going. So having the safety when you're carrying it, definitely a plus. You don't want to bump something and end up hurting yourself.
Yeah.
So this is the CZ Shadow 2. This is the Gold Digger. Only 1,200 of these made. So if you get your hands on something, you got what? Two limited edition guns? Well, 3 limited edition guns that you just got a hold of.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. This is what you've been using for the competition?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got some weight on it, man.
Yeah, that one's all metal as well. It's got a 2.5 or 2 pound trigger pull on there. So it's very light on the trigger.
Yeah.
You can pull the trigger if you like.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the gold on, man.
Yeah, definitely had to get something flashy.
Yeah.
It's like rocking some jewelry. So like everyday outfit comes with the everyday different gun.
Mm-hmm.
So these are our guns that we have on here today. I'll run through the list one more time. We got the CZ Shadow 2, full size. Canic TTI Combat, full size with a compensator. Springfield Echelon will be considered your compact, same size as your Glock 19s. Our SIG P320, this would be like your X compact. This is the Equinox, so this would be your subcompact. You know, not too small, not too big, ready to rock and roll for everyday situations.
Mm-hmm.
And for you sneaky folks out there, this is gonna be the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0. When you feel like James Bond and you gotta handle a secret mission.
Have something on your leg, man.
Yeah, this fits anywhere, you know.
Yeah.
This is for who would I recommend this for? The parents, the teachers, the janitor. If you work late nights, you got to get you one of these. Like, if you a fry cook at rallies and you getting off at 2:00 in the morning, have you one of these. Like, or if you a waiter or waitress and get paid in cash, this right here.
Mm-hmm.
So I highly recommend that. But those are all of our firearms for today. You know, like I said before, like, share, subscribe, AP Tactical TV. And where can our viewers today find you and your company on all social medias? And even if they want to game with you, what's your gamer tag?
All right. Yeah, for sure, man. So David Echevarria, at David H9 on all social media. For company, Village Esports and Entertainment, Village E&E. You can, if you look up on Google, Village E&E, VILLEAGE, E&E, you should see us. But on social media, we're Village Esports. So Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Discord, we have a Discord as well. So make sure to look up our content. We're doing well on Instagram, doing well on YouTube, but we can always do better. You can also find me on Xbox or on PC, El Radical Jit, ELRADICALJIT. A little bit of Mexican flair with the Florida roots in there.
Hell
So hit me up. COD, FIFA, strategy games like Age of Empires and stuff. I play it all. So appreciate you, man.
Yep, no problem. I'm pretty sure that gamer tag has changed since the
It has since we played, man. That's a whole nother conversation. I was a little Mexican for a while. The amount of racial abuse I got was a little too much. I had to go ahead and rebrand real quick.
Okay.
So El Radical Jit now, El Radical Jit. And also Village, we have a lot of us play on our Village accounts as well. Village E&E will be, or Village EE will be, if you want to find us on PC or on Xbox, and on PlayStation as well. We have all those accounts. So, yeah, man.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you stopping by, and I'm looking forward to seeing like how you guys grow.
Yeah.
And hoping the best for you guys. Like, I already know you guys are gonna do well.
Appreciate it, man.
Remember, I said it here first.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you. Appreciate having the opportunity to come and see your setup and the work that you're doing. Also, good luck on the giveaway if you enter again. I know maybe you can go 2 for 2. You never know. It is completely random. I swear it's completely random. But good luck on your success. And listen, as we go up, you'll go up with us, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you on some of our competitions coming soon.
Hell yeah. I get down and dirty in some 2K.
Okay.
So if y'all looking to play me in any 2K, or if you're looking to carry me in some Call of Duty, your mom's favorite 6, and I'll be on there.
Yeah,
everything spelled correctly.
Okay.
But this is Black AP with AP Tactical TV, and shouts out to my guest today who came out and did a wonderful job to explaining some esports to you guys. And hopefully you guys subscribe and stay tuned. We out.
Adios.